Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to take a look at render style in CrazyTalk Animator 2. So we have again our boy Saul on the screen here, and he's going to help us demonstrate what render style actually is. So let's get right into the render style panel. The tool over here is on the left hand side. You can also use the R hotkey, and let's bring that up. And you can see that if we have all these default render styles that come with CrazyTalk Animator 2, all kinds of cool stuff like line art, grayscale, neon. This one's pop art. So you can basically use these for to set different moods and have a different feel for your animations. And I'll show you how you can apply this to different things in your scene as well in just a moment. You can see this. That one's pretty freaky. This silhouette one is just like good for shadows if you want to have shadows in your scene and stuff like that. But let's go back to the default one right here. And I'm going to take a quick look at the outlines first. So you can see on the top here we have the option to show outline. So let's zoom in a little bit on Saul. And if I deselect the show outline, you can see he looks a lot more cut out now and his outline is gone. And it's maybe more of a little bit of a softer look. Let's go ahead and reapply that. And that's just the option to toggle the outline. You can see on the right here we have a slider that allows us to change the value of that outline to very thin or very heavy. So you can see the different types of appearance that Saul will have if you change that outline. Let's maybe try and keep it about 25% on the thin side. That looks very nice and light. So that's the lines. If you want to go into more detail on the lines, let's go into the Edit menu here and we'll go to Project Settings. We have an option for Fixed Line Width While Scale. Now what this will do here is if I select this and I just press OK, this will basically keep my line width consistent no matter how scaled down or scaled up my character is. So let's take a look at what that'll do. You can see if I go to very heavy, let's take a look at if I scale Saul down, you can see the lines stay the same width and you can barely even see Saul's features right there. We can zoom in right there and the line width stays the same, but obviously Saul is getting smaller. So normally, in most cases, you probably wouldn't want to do that, but that's just an option for you as well. If you have a thin, maybe a very thin outline, and I scale that down, it'll be a little bit less extreme. You can see you have like super midget Saul there, and then that's back to pretty much normal, the normal size or the normal line width. So let's just go ahead and bring Saul back up to his normal height, something about here, and we'll work with that for now. And so I'm just going to go ahead and edit and project settings, and we'll just turn that fixed line width off and press OK. And now we're all back to normal. So let's get into the advanced options in the render style panel. The advanced options can be found down here, advanced settings. And you can see that we come up with two little areas, group name selection and color adjustment. Now this may seem a little bit intimidating at first, but it's actually quite simple. So let's take a look at Saul. Let's go a little bit closer in here. You can see there's all of these group names here. Skin 01, upper 01, lower 01. These are all just group names, and in these groups there are a number of different parts. So you can see in the skin group we have the skin on his head, the skin on his upper torso, lower torso, and the skin on his shoes. Let's take a look at what will happen if I have the skin from the head selected and I have this affect same group selected. Now that's key to what I'm going to do here. Let's try and change the hue of that. So you can see if I do that, that's changing all of the items in that group. So it's changing, Saul into different various alien colors like that. Maybe we'll bring it back to normal there. However, if I deselect affect same group and I have the head selected and I try to change the hue, you can see that it only affects the head now. So that's basically the difference between affect same group and when it's selected and deselected. And I can also like invert the color and bring that back to normal. If I have affect same group, I can invert the color for all of them, and that'll change into a super dark color there. So we'll just keep that off for now. And we also have the option to affect all. So if I go to affect all, you can see that now affect same group becomes disabled. And let's just zoom out a little bit so we can see his whole body. And let's say, for example, I want to change the hue. And now that's going to affect every single part of the body, every single group. And you can see I can get various cool different color patterns and stuff like that. Let's maybe try something like this one right here. It's a very kind of cool look for Saul. So this again would be like a sad kind of melancholy look for Saul if your scene was like this. And if I want to maybe change the color of his pants, for example, let's go down and see where the pants would be in the group name. Lower 03 and lower 01, we have both of those at lower torso. Let's select lower 03 first and try to change the hue. Oops, sorry, we have effect all still enabled, so let's go back to about there, I think it was. Deselect effect all and deselect effect same group. And let's go ahead and select the lower torso here and see which item that is. You can see that's his pants right there. So if we wanted to maybe change his pants to a purple color, we can decrease the brightness or increase the brightness and maybe decrease that saturation. And you can see now it's a very, very sad, melancholy looking Saul. The color scheme is very, blue. If I selected maybe, for example, the lower 01 and I tried to change the hue there, you can see that adjusts the lower cuffs of his pants there. So that basically just goes to show you that the different part names affect different areas on the body, and these are defined when the character is created in Flash or whatever other vector tool you have to create your characters. And we'll have further tutorials on that as well. If I select Saul and I just maybe move him over a little bit, let's hold down the Control key and let's click and drag and bring in another Saul. So it's going to duplicate Saul, so now he has a bro right here. And for the other Saul, you can see I can, obviously go to different template styles and apply those different template styles, like grayscale. But if I go back to default, it's not going to go back to the default Saul. It's going to go back to the values I have defined for this guy. So just keep that in mind if you're copying props or copying characters. You can, that's one way to save your render style. And maybe for this Saul, let's bring him in, let's make him a little bit happier. Let's make this Saul, oops, we want to go back to effect all here again and make this guy a bit brighter and happier. Maybe the yellow theme here would probably be really nice. Maybe this one here. This is a sunny day, very bright. Increase the saturation there and make that very high contrast. And you can see it's almost night and day. This is a kind of happy sunny day Saul, and this is a blue melancholy day Saul right there. Now if I want, I can also, if I have another character in my scene, go down to Content Manager, and let's go to, let's bring in Emma again here. And with Emma on the scene now, I can copy this render style from Saul to Emma. So let's select Saul right here, and I'm going to go up to this button right here, Apply Selected Render Style, and let's go ahead and apply that to Emma. And then you can see Emma changes her color scheme to match with Saul's. If I press Escape and I select this Saul over here, I can also copy that render style to Emma, and then she goes back to the blue Emma right there. Now, in addition to transferring color schemes from characters, you can also do it with props as well. So let's go ahead and bring in our scene. And what I want to do is go to Scene, and let's go and bring in this this conference room that we have. And we'll just try and bring our characters a little bit down so they're not floating in the sky. I'm going to control and click and select all of them, and we'll bring them down to a more human level right there in the conference room. So let's take a look at what happens if I select one of my characters. Let's select the hot looking Saul in the middle there, and let's try and copy his render style to a prop. I'm going to go here and apply selected render style, and let's try and apply it to this this board in the back here. If I select it, you can see nothing really happens. The same with the chair, any of the other stuff. I'll try and apply it to this table. Nothing happens. And let's take a look at why that is. Let's go back into our render style panel here. And you can see when I have Saul selected, look at all the group names. We have Skin01, Skin02, all these different hair, teeth, mouth, and all that stuff. Now let's take a look if I select the board up here. The board, the group names are completely different. We have Custom 02, 05, and 07. As well as an outline. So basically the group names are not the same, so there's not going to be any render style information transferred over. Let's try and let's select this board right here, and let's try and customize the colors a little bit. So I'm going to select this Custom 02. Let's try a different one. Let's try this chair over here. The chair has a few different group names, so let's go try and custom one and maybe change that Oops, we have effect all selected there. I'm going to deselect that. Custom 01. You can see that, where's custom 01? Oh, maybe we want to, oh, not sure where that is. Custom 05. There we go. We can change this to a really funky, purple and green style. Custom 07. Where's that? That's the lower part right there. So if we wanted to change it to maybe like a more green themed conference room, we can do that as well. So let's go ahead and apply that render style to the chair, the other chair right there. The board, you can see that affects the board, the table. We get a more green theme. Even the projector, we can change that other board right here. Let's press escape and zoom out a little bit here. And you can see we can gradually, eventually turn everything into a more green themed room. Now what if I selected the entire, I can select basically a number of different props. Let's go to our scene manager and select the entire scene. That's selecting basically all of the stuff in the scene. And then we go to render style, and let's see what happens if I change the entire scene to line art. We can do that. We can do it that way as well. And you can select individual items and all kinds of stuff, to get any kind of cool effect. And all of the different items in your scene will be changed to that color that you choose. You choose a neon one. Oh, that's pretty hard on the eyes. Let's go back to something maybe like a grayscale one here. And you can see we have everything grayscale and line art. You can see all kinds of cool stuff. Let's go back to default for now, and we'll keep it at this one right here. And if I can also do this if I select multiple objects in my scene, like let's just select these two chairs and this table, for example. And let's go ahead and adjust the hue. And we want to select default right there. And with the two tables and the table and the two chairs selected, let's go ahead and try to change the hue of that. You can see nothing will work right there. Let's try and affect all. And if we change the hue on this one, you can see we get all kinds of cool different combinations of color. And that's basically it for fooling around with the different render style settings. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you're creating your props or your characters in Flash, you'll have to define each different part as a symbol in Flash. Now, the symbols are made up of shapes and lines and all that stuff, and each symbol in Flash will represent a part in Crazy Talk Animator. So let's go into our vector grouping tool really quickly, and I'll show you. We'll just select this table first. Maybe this chair is a very simple example. And I'm going to go to our prop composer up here on the left. And when that loads in, I have my chair selected. And I'm going to go to this tool here, which is our vector grouping tool. So this may look a little bit intimidating at first, but actually it's not that bad. You can see that we only have one angle, the 0 degree profile angle. Don't worry about the index number here. The angle is at 0 degrees. All of these part names are different, and they're all parts of different groups. So again, the symbols that you save in Flash will correspond to these different part names. And we're going to have more tutorials on this in the future in the character customization, character creation tutorials. So I'm just going to try to briefly explain it here. Let's take a look at when I select different items here in my vector grouping tool window. Custom 1, this prop right here. Let's try and find, there you go. So index 5 here, that's this part of my prop right there. And this part right here is, they're all different groups. This custom 05 is the seat of the chair, and this custom 05 is that area. So you can see they're grouped together. As you saw earlier when I modified the color, those two were grouped together in custom 5. Now what I can do is, if I have custom 5 selected, I can also, select the same color, and that'll select both of those ones right there. And if I wanted to invert the selection, I can do that, and that will select everything else. You can see the stuff that's flashing is the stuff that's selected right there. So let's go ahead and invert that one more time. So we got these two selected. Now see, for example, I'll select custom 7 here, and we have select same color selected, so it's selecting both of those. What if I wanted to change these to the custom 5 group? Let's go ahead and down here in our group name selection, let's select custom 05. So if I have custom 05 selected over here, and then I select these two props that are currently in group custom 07, let's go ahead and try to apply that. And you can see now those will change to custom 05. And if we select these ones, now all of that group is selected together. And the prop will change as well. you can see now they are all the same color. So that's basically how you can define the group names in Crazy Talk Animator 2. Let's go back out to the main stage here and take a look at that one chair. So now you can see this chair is all blue and this chair is all red. And if I go into here, I go into my render style again. Let's go ahead and see what happens if I maybe choose Custom 05. And now you can see that entire seat will change together, and it won't have those lower kind of shadow areas on the seat. So that's how you can basically define your groups in Crazy Talk Animator 2 once you've exported your props and whatnot from Flash. And of course, a quick reminder that only will be available with the pipeline version of Crazy Talk Animator, which allows you to import external files. Now you can import like Swift files and PNG files and everything like that, but you won't have the amount of detail that you will with the pipeline version of Crazy Talk Animator 2. Alright, so that's about it for render style. Hopefully you learned a little bit about that. And again, like I mentioned, we will have further tutorials on importing and modifying different props and characters and everything like that. Character pipeline from Flash to Crazy Talk Animator 2. But for now, this is just a simple introduction to render style and how you create those groups and the parts and everything like that. Alright, so thanks for watching and stay tuned for more great tutorials on our YouTube channel.